You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Hello race fans and welcome to Martinsville Speedway. We are live here on Sim Racing Media, getting ready for the Western States Racing League round number 8. I'm Liam Irvig, joined in the booth by Mike DeMoney. Mike, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Liam, doing good. Can't wait to see what these guys can do coming back to the short track of Martinsville this week.
Last time we were here, we saw a record number of yellows, and these guys are hoping for a little bit different of a result this time. We're going to see 160 laps, no stages for no laps, 3 additional tire sets in the pits. We'll have 3 attempts at a green-white checker. We'll say the fuel window's roughly 95 laps, kind of in that 90 to 100 window. So only 1 fuel stop will be necessary. No fast repairs here today in Martinsville. Qualifying just finishing up. Seeing some of these guys still out here trying to get a little bit more track time. Dustin Burns, he's got himself in the 15th place starting spot. You can kind of see where people are lining up on the left side. We'll get you an updated scoring or updated starting order when these guys finish up this session here in about 3 minutes. But Martinsville is one of the oldest circuits on all of this NASCAR circuit. You know, I think it was 1948 that it was built, maybe 49. It's about as old as NASCAR is itself, and got a lot of history. Paperclip here in Virginia. Some of the greatest drivers to ever do it have won here. Richard Petty, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin. Let's not forget Rusty Wallace, Kurt Busch.
It's also home to some of the shortest tempers and some of the best retaliation that you have seen in NASCAR as well.
Yeah, we know that's true, especially with Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano. That's always a good one to bring up. Danica Patrick got herself into a couple of spats here that never exactly went her way. Ray Partridge out on the racetrack, getting a little bit of extra time in.
Looking at the standings right now, looks like about, I'll say, almost 10 drivers are going to elect to start at the back of the pack. I mean, it is Martinsville, so kind of the same thing as if you were at a super speedway. Do you want to qualify on the pole, or do you want to kind of sit in the back and try and avoid all the carnage that may be happening?
Yeah, and Mike, another thing that we're going to want to take a look at here is this weather report. The air temp is 86, but the track temp sits at 136. And when you get 27 trucks running around here in close proximity, even when they spread out, they're just going to be building more and more heat into this racetrack. On top of that, we saw last year in the fall, the brake bias was, at least in the setup, it seemed to be heavily biased towards the rear. And these guys were really having trouble when they would get on the brakes trying to dive it in. So we'll see if that ends up being a problem here today. Talked with Jacob Jensen a little bit beforehand, and he said that with the slick track, with how hot it is, he couldn't really tell if it was any better. He was definitely experiencing some of that same issue. With that, he said it's going to be a race of patience here. Just try to stay out of trouble. Keep your bumpers clean, both front and rear.
Yeah, definitely. We kind of saw a little bit of that when we were tuned in watching practice as they were trying to figure it out here. It looked like that track is going to be a little hot and slick. They're going to have to manage those rear tires. So look for more tire. I'd say you're going to want more tires than fuel, especially with the 80% fuel run you have.
Yeah, you're going to be hard-pressed to find somebody who goes all the way to that 90 to 100 range without coming in for some Dr. Feelgoods. Well, these drivers are getting on to the speedway. Go ahead and get you our starting grid. On the pole, we've got Ricky Barbary and Jacob Jensen, then Chris Simard and Wayne Hutchison. Charles Woods, Bob Beltrami, then Chad Stearns, Chris Walker, Shane Jensen, and John Kenyon. Two drivers who both put up a lot of laps in practice. Julian Ritchie and James Stewart, number 1 and 44. Then Ryan Steele and David Weaver. Justin Burns, the last driver to put down a lap, with Alan Bergen to his outside. Ray Partridge, the last driver to put down a lap in 17th. He's got Brian Barnes to his outside. Scott Kukas with Keith Kelman to his outside. Barry Phil and Wayne Fleet, P21 and 22. Jeff Hollingsworth and Paul Krumrye make our row number 12, with William Fletcher and Todd McGregor in 25th and 26th. Earl Weaver gonna round out the field here today. There are 160 laps at the paperclip. Ricky Barbary making his first start of this season. It might be his first start of the league. Haven't gone all that far back in terms of our research, but we know he's not on the standings this season. hoping to come in here and play upset to Jacob Jensen, who starts to his outside. Chris Simard. I mean, we talked about all these guys, or mentioned them there in the grid, but he's definitely going to be hoping for a strong run. Bob Beltrami, he was second quick in practice, and he put down a lot of laps. I think he put down more than the race distance in just the practice session.
I think there was a few of them that did as these guys get ready. It looks like we have 5 drivers that did not grid, so we'll see if they're going to elect to try and start from the pits or what might be happening with them.
Yeah, Jeff Hollingsworth, Paul Crumry, William Fletcher, Todd McGregor, and Earl Weaver not taking the grid. They might be electing to start from the pit lane. We will have to see. Usually I'll put those guys in their pit box by now, but
No, they all were in practice, so.
So 22 drivers gonna take the green flag on track here, and we shall see what happens with the other 5. Ricky Barbary making his debut on the season, getting ready to lead us down. Gonna have to wait for that green flag. There it is. Green flag is in the air. We are rolling here, and tire spin from the lead. Tire spin from row 3. That's Bob Beltrami. Allows Jacob Jensen to get out to the front. Looking back through the field here, a little bit of action as Dewar gets up into the wall. John Kenyon moves up the racetrack, loses a spot. Ryan Steele looks down to the inside, trying to take advantage of Kenyon moving up the track. Little 3-wide action here, coming up off of turn number 4. That was the 17 of Wayne Hutchison up on the top.
Bob Beltrami loose, almost into that outside wall.
Oh, here comes Chris Walker in there. Now Beltrami's got to take avoiding action. He has gone from... Oh, he's around.
Almost sideways into the wall.
The outside wall. Gonna keep her straight. We stay green for the time being. Yeah, and that's just a day gone from good to bad right from the get-go. Started in 6th position outside of row 3. You saw him get a little bit squirrely there on that initial start. And getting loose coming up off of turn number 4. Corrects it back up into the wall. Gonna have some hard fighting to get back up to the front. Meanwhile, as we are back up to the front, Jacob Jensen. It's about a 2-car length lead over Barbary.
I saw Barbary spin the tires, kind of get loose, go back and forth to get going, and we're under yellow again. Alan Bergen into the wall.
Caution out after 4 done here. Alan Bergen, is he going to be able to stay on the lead lap? No. We'll see.
Didn't hit anybody.
Yeah, no, overcooked it getting into the corner, and did his best to keep it straight. Tried to drive out of the slide, but as soon as he saw that Barry Phil was coming, he cranked it back to the right and said, I'm not going to try to risk your truck to save mine. And it looks like Bergen is going to lose that lap. He will not get the free pass as he was the cause of the caution.
Yeah, that's the worst part. When you get passed by the leader, and he's the only one that passes you, and so when you go to restart, usually you wind up having to go to the back, but we'll see how this shakes out here momentarily.
I'm sure that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to have to go all the way to the back because there's no place for him to line up in the front. And yeah, it's got to stink. It's like he's just trying to grab a gear. It looked like Jensen slowed down a lot to try to give space, and yeah, there's Allen dropping to the back. Tough deal for him. Kind of poured a little bit of salt into the wound of Alan Bergen. Should we getting doubled up this time? That was interesting, Mike, what we saw in that initial start with Ricky Barbary spinning his tires. We obviously saw Beltrami do the same. Wonder if we're going to see more of the same. By the way, Bob did not elect to come in and get any damage repair.
I mean, with basically, what, 8 laps? I don't think that was going to be an option really either.
I mean, to get the fender pulled out maybe, but we shall see. Green flag back in the air. Barbary spins the tires once again. He's going to try to take a wider entry here. Samarin tries to get down to his inside. Jacob Jensen gets away. Barbary now has a fight for second as Samarin looks to the inside. Barbary closes that door. Painting that curb as well as he can with those left side tires. Trying to close back in on Jacob Jensen. A little bit further back, Charles Woods. Here's Chris Walker. Shane Jensen to his inside. Julian Ricci trying to follow through. Ryan Steele up on that outside. And we'll see it a little bit early. But you're going to see just how much of a struggle it can be when you get put to the outside and you can't find a way back down to the bottom. Right now we might be seeing it out of Chris Walker. Now Ricci going to get side by side with him. A little bit loose coming up off of the corner. Ryan Steele going to try to get it to the bottom here in the middle. Ricci goes up the racetrack, pushes Walker up. That's going to give Steele a little bit more of an advantage.
Yeah, Steele's been sliding inside and outside trying to find
Shane.
the spot he wants to be. Jensen almost around. Fishtailing down the straightaway.
I have no idea how he saved that. What a drive out of that by Shane.
That was almost the perfect timing as nobody was around to cause that to go anywhere. So he's able to save it, take his time, and get back in line. The 44 of James Doerr stuck on the outside for a couple laps, dives back in, and clears Ryan Steele.
Try to see if I can find that moment there. Oh, there goes Julian Ricci around. Caution's going to come out. Oh, he comes back up the track. Oh, my goodness. What are we doing?
Not holding the brakes.
It's a sketchy spot for all drivers involved. Ricci came back up. I saw some guys turn in unexpected directions. So let's first take a look to see what happened with Shane Jensen. Wow. Yeah, it is a feat that he saved that car for sure. Now we've got Julian Ricci just in front. It's not this time around.
Him and Chris Walker almost did the exact same thing there.
Oh, he got
curb.
the apron. got on that curbing a little bit, and that's enough. And then, yeah, just right back on the loud pedal to back it up and try to get going. Obviously, he saw what happened to Alan Bergen that last time. He doesn't want to get put a lap down and stuck there.
Alan back on the lead lap.
Yes. Just kind of a sketchy spot. It's a small track. It's a tight track. Interesting still that Beltrami has not come in to at least get that fender pulled out. You know, not take any tires or anything, but check that damage. It must not feel too bad in the truck. Currently sitting in 15th. Ricci seems to be having some sort of connection issues there for the time being.
It's only a little dented in.
So Jacob Jensen and Ricky Barbary doubled up once again. Can Barbary get a restart here without spinning his tires and stay to the outside of Jensen? We'll find out. Wayne Hutchison up to 4th. Charles Woods, Chad Stearns. Still a little bit of tire spin. More tire spin in the back from Dewar. He's going to be able to keep it green here. Keep it clean. 3 wide for a moment. Jacob Jensen in the lead. He's got Barbary solid in 2nd. Chris Simard solid in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Hutchison and Woods respectively. They're side by side behind them. Chris Walker looking to the inside of Stearns, but Stearns drives in deep, tries to get a high apex and diamond his corner. Does a good job of that. Now he's looking to the inside for 5th. Oh, Chris Walker gets bumped by Dewar. Keeper green, but the caution's going to come out for Julian Ricci again. Keeper green wasn't the correct phrasing there. It just meant keeper clean and green, like, you know. But the yellow came out for a separate incident. Oh, we got pitched up there with Phil, and two trucks didn't fit there.
Yeah, no. There was not enough room for Ricci to try and slide out to that outside wall.
Ricci going to come in. Beltrami's going to come in and get that thing looked at. He might be listening to the show. See what kind of damage he's going to end up having here.
You know, Dustin Burns also in, so. Should be trying to get out of his pit box momentarily if he wants to stay on that lead lap.
Lap leaders on the day. It's just Jacob Jensen. That Ricky Barbary is a glitch because he was on the pole and they ran the extra pace lap. The service or the software kind of glitches out and it assumes that that was a lap that he led. If he does get up there and lead a lap, it will correct itself. But Jacob Jensen has led them all as they come to double up one more time. Under the 3rd caution of the day on lap number 26. I believe it was 18 that we had here last time, Mike, and I'm going to go single file just because of the quickness of that yellow. Short tracks, I believe it's 2 laps. But generally, if the caution comes out within a lap of a restart, we're going to try it again, but single file. This is interesting. Everybody way up to the top. This could be detrimental. I know it's early, but you get some marbles up on those tires. Jensen going to lead him down. He gets going. Barbary spins his tires a little bit. Everybody continues on straight. Ryan Steele working his way back up to the front.
Looks like Chris Walker got a little loose there. Shane Jensen going to try and squeeze in, almost make it 3 wide, but fits through.
Yeah, Walker, he might be struggling with something right now. He's going to find himself a little rhythm, get back into it, and try not to lose too many spots. He should be able to get clear of the 44, getting into the corner, drives it in pretty deep. Leaves some bottom open for the 44, but gets a nice exit coming up off of the corner. Chad Stern still working on Charles Woods. Ryan Steele just behind him, working his way up through the field. Chad's going to get in there pretty deep. Almost puts the bumper to him. He's got a nice gap coming up off of the corner. Not quite close enough to move down to his inside comfortably, but really putting the pressure on that 98, letting him know he's there, Mike.
Yeah, definitely letting him know he's there, trying to go down to the inside, see if he can get by that Ram 98, and he'll do just that as he loses a couple feet of track there, does the 98 of Charles Woods.
Yeah, Steele's going to be able to follow Stearns through. Shane Jensen follows through as well. Chris Walker had a bit of a communication issue there where his car disappeared, but back at it, back on it. John Kenyon making the move on the outside of Ray Partridge. Partridge trying to get him back.
Yeah, Kenyon put those tires on that.
Around goes Barry Phil. Caution's going to come out. 4th time today. Something's wrong there.
Yeah. Anyway, what you were talking about last time, the record of cautions we had was 20 cautions for 80 laps. We wound up doing 203 laps here at Martinsville back in October.
All right, so we're going to see. He gets on it. But something happens where his wheels don't turn again.
Yeah.
So he's sitting here trying to get it back going. And it's not working. We're going to see him jump to the pits. And the wheels are still going to be cocked straight to the right. So I don't know if he broke something there or... Yeah, you see, they're all the way, still all the way to the right. So that leads me to believe something has gone awry with the input. It looks like Allen has packed it up. Barry Phil in the pits. We'll see if he's going to be able to get that issue fixed. It might just be as simple as unplugging it and plugging it back in. But we'll see. It's going to take a few moments for him to tow back to the pits before he can get service done and get out of there.
Allen left, so yep.
Yeah, he said he was going to hang out in general if we wanted to pull him up, but I guess we didn't do that in time.
Richie back out. Barry Phil back out too.
Going to end up losing 4 laps to the leaders, but the good news is, now that he's passed Allen, he's the only driver that is 1 lap down or more. So if we keep getting these quick cautions, he could have a chance of getting back on the lead lap here by halfway. Jacob Jensen ready to lead them down once again. Appreciate you guys tuning in here live on Sim Racing Media. Oh, I messed up, didn't I? Yeah, we are green. Super sorry about that, boys. Entirely missed that restart. Barry Phil has had another problem.
Barry Phil right in the way. Ooh, Ryan Steele caught Barry Phil right at the wrong time. Kind of gets stuck behind him.
Yeah, Stearns down to the inside of Ryan Steele. Wayne Hutchison able to get up to 4th. This battle for 5th now. Still trying to hold tight up on the top, but that's going to be tough. Especially the longer we get into these runs. Somebody's really going to be able to shove you up the racetrack. Chad Stearns just about does that. Going into turn number 3. Doing what he can to try to keep that 12 from completing this pass. It looks like Ryan Steele is going to have it done here coming up off of 2. Stearns keeps the nose low. Doesn't quite get in there deep enough as Shane Jensen going to have to react to that.
Yeah, Jensen almost caught Stearns there as Stearns was trying to fall back into line. Gets off the curb just a little bit as they're working through lap 43.
So we'll see what happened to Barry Phil on this run. A bit of a spin, drives it away real quick, and no need for a caution, so we don't get one. Ryan Steele is up to 5th place, started 13th on the day. Wayne Hutchison in 4th, started 4th. Steele looking to the inside, though. He's trying to take away that 4th position. Ryan Steele looking for his first win on the season. Side by side, or starting to get side by side, getting pretty racy for 2nd.
They have Wayne Hutchinson, Ryan Steele, Chad Stearns all pretty close together as they're trying to battle it out here for that 4th spot.
Stearns goes in deep. Kind of costs him in the middle of the corner, but his lap times are not much different. Not too far off of Ryan Steele. Actually, a couple of 100ths quicker that last time around as he gets a little bit squirrely coming up off of turn number 4. Truck sitting in the 6th position.
Yeah, Wayne Hutchinson was almost the fastest truck last time with a 21:36 to the leader's 21:40.
That time Chris Samard with the 21:31. He was the fastest on the track that last time. Justin Burns with trouble on the front stretch. Looks like Keith Kelman was involved as well. We continue on. There's Chris Samard right up on the back bumper of Barbary once again. Barbary gets loose coming up off of the corner. The 54 dives it in deep. Keith Kelman's going to get out of the way of the race leader. Oh, Barbary gets up into the wall. Slides up the racetrack. Samard, could he take advantage? Everybody has to pass Keith Kelman up on the outside. He has elected the inside lane. Samard able to run right up on that curbing. Can't use up all the racetrack he wants to, but Barbary is struggling on those tires.
Yeah, Barbary looks like every time he gets on the straightaway, he gives the wheel just like a little shake, and Samar just has not been able to get by him.
I wonder, that's a slide right there, but I wonder if it's Smart's going to have a good chance of getting in there. So the caution's going to come out. Trouble in turn 4. Dustin Burns goes around. Keith Kelman, I think, was involved in that as well.
It looked like he was trying to jump to the pits to keep the caution from coming out, just not quite fast enough there.
Here's the first situation with Dustin Burns and Keith Kelman, I believe. Burns goes up, hits the wall, spins it almost all the way out, comes back up right in front of Kelman. Kelman's not probably overly pleased with that, but we continued on from that. Oh, he gets on the curbing there. That's not good. He spins it out, and then potentially at the same time here, Dustin Burns gets up into there, into the outside wall, and
tried to chastain it.
I don't know if he tried to chastain it, but he definitely did try to get off of the racetrack and return to pits so that nothing happened, or to try to avoid the caution. But everybody's in the pits now.
Well, except for one.
Scott Kukas stays out.
And he just stayed out to come in later.
Oh, and it looks like the 54's got a penalty. Potentially speeding on pit lane here, or maybe an unsafe pit exit. I would imagine it's probably speeding. He's going to have to go to the tail end of the longest line. You know, Mike, when I was younger, I always thought when they said tail end of the longest line, they were just putting emphasis on how long that line was. Like, oh, it's just the longest line, isn't it? Because back when they first started saying it, I couldn't fathom the fact that there would be more lapped cars than lead lap cars.
Yeah.
That is definitely not the case here today. Scott Kukas rounds out the field, or of the lead lap cars here. He's back in 19th. Pace cars made that hard left turn. Jacob Jensen with Chris Samard to his outside. Wade Hutchison, Ryan Steele, and Chad Stearns make up your top 5. Green flag back in the air. Jensen able to get away strong. Samard follow right down into the inside lane. Wade Hutchison and Ryan Steele race it up for 3rd. Steele gets a little bit of a run on the outside with these fresher tires. Oh, Shane getting sideways.
Jensen.
Not the first time today we've seen that.
That definitely not. One guy to look for is back towards the back.
Oh,
Ricky Barbary.
The 16 goes around. Barber gets a piece. Bob Beltrami's around as well.
Like Barbary might have tried to stick himself somewhere where there wasn't quite enough room there after that caution started to come out.
It's entirely possible. It was kind of a bang-bang play.
Yep. Oh.
Weaver, I think he got on the brakes sooner than Beltrami thought he was gonna. They made contact, and then Bob got up out of the curbing trying to avoid him.
Yep. Looks like Barbary might have got just a little bit of touch there on the rear of Weaver there. But other than that, he was almost clean through there.
Right on board with him here. This accident happens going into turn 1. Yeah, he saw a hole, he went for it. He got clipped, but I don't think it's going to hurt him too bad. Will, however, bring us to another single file restart.
Less than 100 laps left.
Jacob Jensen has led just about every lap. Scott Kukas stayed out to lead one lap. I don't think Barbary technically still went under caution. I think that's still the Phantom lap one glitch.
It is. When they officially lead a lap, that should be filled in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Well, single file this time. Everybody up on the top, getting the marbles all over their tires. Into the restart zone. Jensen's going to lead him down. Samard gets on the throttle as well. Jensen gets away. A little bit of a checkup as here comes Shane Jensen down to the bottom. Contact with Woods there. Barbary working his way forward in the 54. Dives it down to the inside of Dewar.
Yeah, Shane Jensen wasted little time, pulled down to the left and went by John Kenyon, and also wound up clearing Charles Woods there. Ricky Barbary trying to get back towards the front after catching that speeding penalty.
Nothing worse than, getting a penalty, especially in a race that you thought you were going to do really well in. I think Barbary starting on the pole, I don't know if he was caught off guard with Jacob Jensen's start on the outside and just wasn't able to get past him since then, but stayed at pretty consistent second place. Chris Samard got up to him, tried to fight him a couple times, but he wasn't quite able to make that move happen. Right now, he's worked his way back up into the top 10. He's in 9th place. Currently 4 seconds off of the race lead. Jacob Jensen continues to lead. Chris Samard. I gotta change that camera mic. It's making me dizzy.
Yeah, definitely just spins around there right on top of the tower.
Jacob Jensen continues to lead here. Lap 71 out of 160. Chris Samard in second place. Brian Steele still in third. Wayne Hutchison and Chad Stearns look to be reigniting this battle for the 4th position. Stearns looks in there a little bit deep. Hutchison able to defend. A car length separating these two, getting into turn number 3. And Stearns is really aggressive on entry. He's able to close it in the center because of that. Wayne Hutchison tries to get that run coming up off of the corner, but he just can't quite get the power down the same way as Stearns, and Stearns almost gets into him. He's got about a foot or two difference at their closest point there.
Yeah, Chad Stearns has this set up perfectly here. He knows exactly when he's going to brake. The only problem is there's a Dodge in front of him, so he has to kind of decide a little bit sooner. But if he can get that nose down to the inside, he's going to have this pass done pretty quickly here. But he just can't quite close the gap on corner entry.
Yeah, Mike, and that is something cool to bring up here is the new Ram brought in by iRacing. It didn't take them long, just a couple of weeks after the debut at Daytona. These trucks look bad, they look fast, they look bad fast. You know, it's cool to see them out there, and you got one of them running pretty good right now, but for how long? Chad Stearns really trying aggressively on this inside.
Yeah, Chad Stearns was able to get his nose down, just hasn't been able to get by. Had to change his line just a little bit to get there, but now he has the run off, and he should be able to clear after this next corner.
Yeah, he's got him here through the middle.
Yep.
We'll see if Hutchison tries for a crossover. He's going to have a nice angle of attack, but a little bit better throttle response out of that 05 coming up off of turn number 4. He's going to be able to drive it away by a car length, probably 2, coming down this back straightaway. Jensen's out to an 0.8 of a second lead. Battle for second starting to close in. Ryan Steele, Chris Samard. Take a look at Ryan Steele, who started 13th, currently in 3rd, and you take a look at his chart. It has just been slow improvements all day. Can he take this one up to the top spot? It's going to be tough to beat that 64, but I don't know. We could see some lap traffic.
Yeah, we'll see what Ryan Steele can do. He's known for managing tires and fuel strategies. And with this being somewhere, you know, where you get to, 100 laps in fuel, and that's kind of where you're going to cut it off. I wonder if those guys coming down on lap 54 figured if they had if they caught a couple cautions or something to that effect, they might save enough as Samard almost goes sideways.
Yeah, big slide there. And Mike, that is a fair point. However, these guys pitted 25 laps ago. They're already a second slower than their fastest laps of the race. I think these guys, if they get the chance late with about 40, maybe even as little as 30 laps to go, you see anybody come in and take tires and try to work their way up through. Gonna have to rely on a restart or two. But this is going to be the situation where you want to be the first to pit last, and I don't think anybody who pitted on 54 thinks that that's their last pit stop. Oh, coming up in the wall. Steele down to the inside of Samard. Oops. Don't know how that happened. Steele back out of the inside.
They're going through the mid-race grid there. These guys are battling it out.
Now, if we want to do that, that's what we got this one for. Well, we generally like to set this up right before the lights go off on the pace truck, but you can see your drivers and what their cars look like here on this bottom right side. The bottom left, we've got that Premier Setups logo. Premier Racing Setup Shop. Got a commercial for him, but
Looks like Chris Smart's been able to get that 77 truck back under control and is keeping Ryan Steele at bay. Steele battling fairly hard here to try and get up into P2. Lap traffic is in front of Jacob Jensen. You see Barry Phil in the picture now.
Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a, I don't know, I hadn't seen that before. They told me that we weren't getting video to YouTube, so I thought we actually had a bigger problem than we did. Should have been able to view that last couple of laps, but it's been technical. Oh, Samard gets big time loose, and that's going to put Ryan Steele right where he wanted to be, in front of that 77, and now chasing down Jacob Jensen.
I saw Samard get a little loose a couple laps. It looked like he had it back under control, but big time handling issue there for that 77 machine allowed Ryan Steele to get by. Steele now closing in on Jacob Jensen, looking to try and put the pressure on that 64 machine and force him to make a mistake as well.
Yeah, last time by he was about a 10th quicker. We'll see what he looks like this time by. It's got to be a 10th or 2. He took another 2/10 out of the lead of the 64 that time around. Everybody took 4 tires on that last pit stop, so you're not going to see any sort of tire advantage here. The question is, did Jacob Jensen use up too much early, or is now the time where he's deciding, I can save a little bit, this run might go long? It's a little sideways there, which kind of makes me think he's used up a little bit of extra stuff early. Little loose there, putting the throttle back down. Ryan Steele right up on his rear bumper. Looks to the outside in turns 3 and 4. Tries to get the power down so he can cross him over. Coming down the front straightaway. Jensen gets loose. Steele down to the bottom. He's got the nose out in front, and he's going to make the pass for the lead. Jensen tries to look back to the inside, coming up off of turn number 2. He's got the power down that time, but not quite close enough to keep himself within distance, or within striking range. So get around Keith Kelman. Jensen getting sideways on the bottom. Hasn't been in dirty air all night. Now he's come up into some lap traffic. He's lost the lead. Now he's in some, you hate to say it at a short track, especially Martinsville with hairpin turns, but he's in that dirty air, and it's changing the way that that truck is handling.
Yeah, just a little bit, and now he has Chris Simard right on his rear bumper as well, so that's going to probably not help the 64 at all as he gets a little loose there. Once again, able to gather it in.
Yeah, he has used a lot of right rear. He is struggling right now. It's been 40 laps since he came into pit. He's got the 77 now making a pass on the inside as he's going around Kukas, who is getting lapped on the outside. Now Simard gets a little bit loose. He's another guy who hasn't been all that kind to his right rear. Seen him get sideways and squirrely a couple of times. Chad Stearns now closes in on both of these guys. His right rear has looked considerably happier, we'll say, than the two in front of him.
Yeah, he's been running fairly consistent lap times. The two in front of him have been racing relatively hard against each other. A couple mistakes there cost them their position here as Stearns is all over the back of Smart. Oh.
You know what? I think we'll have to ride on board, but all right, they're not shifting. Stearns gets around Jensen as well. My guess was that maybe he had shifted down into third and got up onto the gas, a little too excited seeing what was happening in front of him. It was not the case, though. I think he just didn't shift and still got on the gas, excited about what was happening in front of him.
It looked like he was almost going to go sideways. They're able to keep it under control. Jacob Jensen losing track position here as now he is back to fourth.
We can't see the throttle inputs, but you can hear them. He is all the way on the straightaway before he puts it to full throttle. I would argue he's probably not even full throttle until he gets past the restart zone. You know, he might be 80, 90, but there's a lot of pedal play here.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't try and get fully back onto it until he's off of that white concrete looking track there.
Yeah, but even then, you can see how his wheel is reacting. His
Yep.
car isn't handling perfectly. We'll go with Jacob Jensen here. Has lost a ton of time. It's almost half a second slower than your race leader right now, and oh man,
Ooh.
big slide out of Jacob. Big slide.
Those
Man,
tires
he's-
are cooked.
Yeah, he's got to be holding on for a caution at this point, hoping he isn't the caution. It might be right behind him with Barbary getting big time sideways and up the racetrack. He keeps her straight. We stay green, but a big slide here out of Barbary. Absolutely crazy stuff. Can bring up this tower here. Kind of gets up in the way though. Let's not do that one. Ryan Steele continues to lead this race. He's got almost 2 seconds over Chris Simard. Still got a mirror full of Chad Stearns, but Stearns starting to fall back just a little bit. Wayne Hutchison and Brian Barnes both able to get around Jacob Jensen, who is continuing to struggle on these tires. He's about half a second slower per lap than almost everybody around him. Barbary's going to be able to get back past him. John Kenyon trying to come through as well, and Jacob is just sliding.
Yeah, he was hanging on for dear life on that 64 machine.
He is barely turning left at all.
I'll say, Barbary almost was sideways as well.
Oh, and Jensen's going around. Caution is out. Jacob Jensen spins out and turns 1 and 2 to bring out the caution. And I don't want to say it was a matter of time, but with the way that truck was handling, I think it was
A matter of time.
Yeah, it was either you're going to have to pit or risk being the caution.
I'll say that's exactly right. He was either going to be the caution or he was going to come down pit lane, the first one down. Everybody should be coming down pit lane to get those 4 fresh tires.
54 staying out. Going to try to lead this lap. I don't know if he got in front of those guys in time. He might.
Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't fill it in. Thought it did.
Chris Simard won the race off of pit road. Got in front of Ryan Steele. Julian Ricci is going to come back down the pit lane. Comes to a stop first. Wayne Hutchison. Chad Stearns got third off of pit lane. I think Barbary did lead that lap then. Now he's got 2. Appreciate everybody who's hanging out live with us on Sim Racing Media and the YouTube channel. Go ahead and drop your favorite drivers. Let us know who you're rooting for. We'll get them on the big screen.
Yeah, Chris Simard able to beat Ryan Steele off of pit lane. Steele had almost a full second longer pit stop than Samard.
Take a quick look from another angle. We were on board with Jacob, but that thing was just on ice. Makes a little bit of contact there with that outside wall, and doesn't look like it's too bad, but definitely not where he wants to be outside the top 10. Chris Samard, Ryan Steele, Chad Stearns, Wayne Hutchison, and Brian Barnes, your top 5. Coming back to green. Samard gets on it pretty good. Steele gonna have to fall back in line. 48 laps to go.
I'll say almost stopping in the back.
Barbary might have got another penalty there. Had to start all the way at the back of the pack. Jacob Jensen here. Working the outside of DeWer, trying to get back up into the top 10. Be able to make easy work for that pass. Oh, he's going to bottom 3 wide. Shane up on the top. Woods in the middle. Made it work. Oh, we got a caution. Trouble back straightaway. David Weaver's around. It's our 8th of the day on lap 116. Spins it coming up off the corner.
Might
See
have
if
a
there
little
was some
help.
contact. See if he had some help. Oh, Julian. Julian got into him.
Yep, sliding up the track.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take that as an opportunity to pay some bills. We'll be right back with the rest of the race here at Martinsville.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Back live here at Martinsville. Chris Simard continues to lead. You saw the restart on side by side. He got away from Ryan Steele. Chad Stearns up into third place. Wayne Hutchison in fourth. Brian Barnes has made his way up into the top 5, and Bob Beltrami, who started in 6th, has finally made his way back up to the 6th position. Trying to work his way back forward.
Almost a little
Bob.
loose there.
Smart trying to drive away in the final 38 laps. Coming to 37 this time. Slides up the racetrack a little bit. That's going to be good for Steele to close in just a touch. Who's going to be able to take better care of their tires over the course of these next 38 laps? Still got 17 on the lead lap, so I've got to say, if we get a caution with 20 to go, it's going to be tough for anybody inside the top 5, maybe even to the top 10, to come in and take fresh tires and lose that track position.
Yeah, it would be hard. I mean, you see two drivers that started on the front row, currently in 13th and 14th, Ricky Barbary and Jacob Jensen, and they have not been able to make too much ground back up after losing all that track position.
Yeah, those guys still on equal tires with everybody else, but doesn't equate to what that clean air was doing for these guys as they make quick work with Charles Woods. Put them into 12th and 13th, respectively, as around goes Ray Partridge. The caution's going to come out again. 9th time here at Martinsville. Have a look-see here. It happened through turn 3, I believe, all by himself. Just got in there hot, lost the rear end. Seen it time and time again. James Dewar, Jacob Jensen. They're taking the opportunity now. They say it's been 20 laps since I've taken tires. I want freshies. Gonna have about 30 laps to work with them.
I mean, you got to do something different if you're stuck in the back. I mean, you can get those 4 fresh tires. Maybe that 20 laps will make a difference here. I mean, you're gonna have 30-ish laps to go once we go back to green flag racing, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just about. James Dewar, Wayne Fleet, both out of their pit. Jacob Jensen is going to win this race off of pit road. Scott Kukas stayed out. I think he got the free pass, so he's probably going to have to go back behind Jacob. But as far as I know, he only lost 2 or 3 spots.
They didn't really lose too much track position. He was in 13th position before coming down pit road. Right now he's scored at P15, but if Kukas is supposed to be behind him, then he didn't lose any position.
One to green. Doubled up. It'll be 29 to go when we get the green flag. Now, I of course have to ask, could this be the final restart? But we're at the paperclip, Mike. I think things are going to heat up from here.
I think you're absolutely right as these guys get ready to go back to green flag racing. Lap 131. Getting close to that 160 mark. Green flag is out. Sumar trying to get the jump he had last time, and it looks like he will be side by side with Steele.
Excellent restart from the outside row. He's going to try to get a run to get to the door of that 77. I think Samard's still going to have the advantage on this restart, but Ryan Steele doing everything he can to show him that he's got a fight in him.
Yeah, still side by side, single filed out, back behind him, door to door. Samard and Steele.
Steele noses up in front, at least on entry, coming up off of the corner. Steele gets a little momentum. He leads that lap. Pitches him down, little bit of contact. Steele gets sideways. Samard not going to be able to take advantage. Steele still driving through.
Yeah, Ryan Steele able to stay on the throttle just a little bit longer than Chris Samard. Going to take advantage, get that run coming off the corner. Side by side they go once again. Neither driver wanting to give an inch here.
No, and I thought Steele was going to be able to clear him going into turns 1 and 2. He had a really good run off of 4 that last time, but Samard drove it in there deep, got himself right back next to the door of that 12. Now coming down the front straightaway, they drag race. About half a car length at the line that time by. And that's a little bit of sliding up there out of the 77. Not sure if he got into the door of the 12, but Chad Stearns is back behind these guys licking his chops. Good center for the 12. He's going to get a nice run coming up off, and Samard falls in line, at least for now.
Yeah, Samard falls in line. He's going to have to play deep. I'll say he'll have to play some defense here as Stearns was closing in, but that little mistake by Steele opened the door back up for Samard to battle back down on the inside. Scott Kukas almost around.
Yeah, Ricky Barbary coming to a stop on the racetrack. The cautions come out, and that's going to be looked down upon if that was what I think it was. See what happened initially here. He's with Jacob Jensen. Looks like he tries to cover him off, and 64 is already there. So he goes around. So this should have been a caution. And then, yeah, he stops and gets the caution.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, granted, it should have been a caution, but, you know.
Yes, absolutely. It should have been. I mean, he was around for 15 seconds on the inside of the track. Drove backwards across it to, you know, I mean, it should have by all means triggered a caution, but it did not. Jensen back on the pit lane along with Chris Walker. Ricky's coming in, getting some service done, as well as John Kenyon.
Well, either Jensen didn't take a set of tires sometime, or he only took 2 at one point, because he just put on right side tires.
It is entirely possible. I mean, maybe he just came in and fixed his damage after that last caution where he pitted his last time and didn't take the tires there. Who knows? It's unfortunate iRacing won't let you put on scuffs.
Yeah, then you just drive through the field like Heim time there.
I still can't believe he did that.
I can't either.
That was awesome.
I can't believe Chastain just went, what?
Yeah. He's like, oh, okay, he's here. Where'd he come? Who cares? Heim time care.
Could you imagine that team, though? You have Tony Breidinger driving that car last year, can't get anywhere, and then Corey Heim gets in and wins the race.
Yeah. And I'll tell you which one has more money behind him.
Huh, I wonder.
Next truck makes that hard left turn. Gonna be 18 laps to go when we take the green flag. Ryan Steele, Chris Samard, Chad Stearns, Wayne Hutchison, Brian Barnes up at the top 5. What a start there by Steele. He gets away strong. Stearns side by side with Samard now. Chris able to hold on to second place, and he drives it in deep there. Looks to the outside of Ryan Steele. Slides up the racetrack a little bit. He gets a little loose coming up off of the corner, but he is going to be aggressive to try to take this lead back. He's on the bumper. Steele gets a little bit of a run coming up off of the corner. But not enough to keep Samard away from striking distance. Chad Stearns getting up into this thing as well. Little contact there between Hutchison and Barnes.
Okay, almost some contact between Stearns and Samard. Barnes and Hutchinson playing a little tag there.
Samard looking to the outside of Steele. Gets a nice run coming up off of turn 4, able to stick with him. About a foot off of the bumper as they get into turn 1. Can have a chance to get down low. Can't quite take it off of the corner. Looks about half a lane lower getting into turn 3, and that's just enough to show Ryan Steele like, hey, I might be looking this time. You might have to defend. So Steele is going to more often than not defend, just to make sure that the 77 doesn't have anything for him. That time by 77 works the outside lane. Steele covers it off. Seemed like a wash through that corner, but this time Samard is going to close in. The caution is out once again for the 54. He gets into Partridge there, and wasn't really clear. Oh, he gets into Woods as well. All right, that's right. I don't have a new camera for the round.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't made one either, so.
I'm like, why does this look like that? It didn't even look like my tank slapper. Well, Ricky Barbary gonna restart in 15th, it looks like. Shane Jensen came in to make a pit stop. Charles Woods also made a pit stop.
Jacob Jensen up to Jacob Jensen up to 7th now, so trying to get closer.
Yeah, you can see he's got a road to recovery after lost a lead, lost a ton of spots after the spin, gained a couple more, lost some more, got some repairs taken care of. And yeah, Mike, if I am looking correct, it looks like that pit stop around the 125 area or 129 area was.
It looks like he just put rights. Yeah.
Just a repair. Ours.
Oh, just a repair. Yeah, repair. Yeah.
Yeah. So he saved his 4 tires for the later stint, and it might be working out in his favor here. Gonna be 9 laps to go when we get the restart. Not a lot of time to come back from 7th, but Jacob Jensen, he's been one of the more dominant drivers of this league over the last season and a half. We'll see what he's got. Ryan Steele looking to get one over Chris Samard, who has been strong here late. Chad Stearns just waiting in the wind for something to happen. Green flag back in the air here in Martinsville. 9 laps to go. Samard fights hard up on the outside. Stearns going to try to stay within. Not quite able to stay at the door. He dives it in there that time. Has to check up a
Hutchinson
touch.
overdrove.
Yeah, he did. He's going to the top 3 wide. Jacob Jensen's going to go to the bottom 3.
Walker.
Around goes Chris Walker. Wayne Fleet's in it. Julian Ricci. Charles Woods involved in another one.
Yeah, it looked like Bob Beltrami spun his tires on the restart. Ray Partridge had to check up and kind of backed up that whole outside line.
It's going to be Walker and Kenyon here. Walker just tried to clear himself.
Look at Barbary
Best
and
angle. Yeah, we saw that. We'll try to get a different angle of this.
Wake Fleet blew his engine. He'll be done.
Just so everybody can get a better idea from a different angle. Kenyon flies in on the outside of Chris Walker here. We're not sure that he was expecting him to still be there. Barbary kind of drives through the back of the 6. Julian Ricci. When he gets to 98, got him, and he got him back. Just because we can. And this last bit off of the nose of Charles Woods. I think Barbary said, "I'm not lifting till I see God or the checkered flag." We're going to be 3 laps away from the checkered flag this time around. We're going to have a single file restart. And I believe with the duration left, with only 3 laps to go, any other cautions that we have will also be a single file restart. Working our 12th caution here on lap 157. Will we need an overtime period? Will we be able to get this settled out in regulation? Samard all over the rear bumper of Ryan Steele. He knows he's only got a couple more shots at this. Green flag is in the air. Steele able to get away. Samard, Stearns both a little bit of a tire spin while going through the gears. Comes Jacob Jensen looking to the outside of Chad Stearns. He's already trying to get up to 3rd place. Drives it in deep, does Jacob Jensen. Slides back up the racetrack. Stearns is going to be... Well, he's not going to be able to get back by him. Chris Samard now in 2nd place in front of Jacob. I don't know what that line is out of the 64, but it doesn't look to be the most flattering. Samard driving it in deep, trying to get to the rear bumper of Steele. Gonna lose some time up off of the corner. White flag is in the air. Ryan Steele, 1 more lap to go. Smart's going to have 1 more shot at him. How aggressive does he get with the bumper? He's going to go in deep. He's going to get into the back of him, but it's not going to be enough. Ryan Steele is going to win in Martinsville. Chris Samard in 2nd and Jacob Jensen in 3rd. Chad Stearns comes home in 4th and Brian Barnes with a P5. Steele's bringing it straight to the pits. That number 12 machine is going to come home a winner. Oh, there he goes. Little Polish victory lap.
Ed definitely was able to get that number 12 set just right and bring home the victory here.
Ryan Steele gets it done. He's our top podium finisher. Taking home the checkered flag. You take a look at his race. It was a completely different story before lap 83. Not sure why that's the cutoff there, but I think he's just hiding from everybody. I don't think he wants his truck torn up. I think he wants to get some maybe some burnout photos or something with a clean truck. But Ryan Steele, his first win on the season. Stop it right there at the start-finish line, and looks like that'll be where he jumps to take his photos. That's what I'd be doing. If I went to Martinsville,
Yeah.
I'd be taking a photo, trying to get a photo for my grandfather clock. Well, we're going to go ahead and bring in our race winner. Ryan, it's Liam and Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Man, I tell you what, that was an incredible show you put together. And, well, I mean, you started 13th. You had to work your way up through the field. But once you got up to the front, you never left it. What was it like racing with Chad there, racing with Chris, Jacob, everybody up front, man?
Well, if I had to review the whole day in my qualifying, that was hot garbage. I slid half a way around the lap and put in a pretty poor time. And I wasn't feeling too good about myself, but just I think something to do with how hot the track is and just the setup in general. It was really hard for people to hang on to the thing on the throttle. And just a decent amount of throttle control seemed to be what would keep your tires together, keep your car together. And so the longer the race runs were, the faster I got relative to the field. And since we had that one long green flag run, I was able to get to the front, and being up front definitely makes it easier to stay there.
It certainly does, and you just proved it to us there. And you brought up a good point there with the longer runs, and you're somebody that we've touted about being really good at saving your tires and being good on the long run, and also learning throughout the course of the race. You've told us before that oftentimes when you come into these WSRL races, it's kind of a later entry. You're busy beforehand and don't always get the time to practice. But I think I saw you put down almost 50 laps to make a very long question have a finish to it. What did practicing do for you? Did it have any benefits?
I mean, I only got about a half hour worth out, those 50 laps, they go by quick at Martinsville. I think the prior experience I've had though on this track, but in a different car. So the thing I was doing that I think was making the biggest difference for me was I wasn't going full throttle on the straightaways, like on the second half of a run. The car would start to actually get sideways just going straight. And one car I used to race a lot was the sprint car, the asphalt sprint car that's got 850 horsepower and, probably like a third of the weight of this car. And in that car, you're never going full throttle on most tracks, actually. There's just too much power to use. And so having run that car here before, I felt what was happening, and I'm like, I just need to be like 90% throttle rather than 100%. And I'm going to gain time just because I'm not trying to catch the car all the way around the racetrack. That's where it seemed like it made the big difference to me.
Well, Ryan, you come home with the win here. You led a bunch of laps late. Had a super strong run. Who do you want to thank for such a strong run here, getting the win and leading 44 laps?
I think, first of all, I need to thank Chris in particular. I think also Chad and some of the other guys I was racing around with where, you have to thank them for being clean, because it's very easy to not be clean here, even if you're not trying to do it on purpose. Just drive in too hard, make a mistake, just overdrive and slam into the car next to you, and then because you knocked them out of the way, they spin out, you go ahead and walk away with the lead. It's really easy to race like that if it always benefits you. So the fact that I didn't fall victim to that, I absolutely have to thank Chris and some of the others for not wiping me out. And I always have to thank my team for helping prepare for the race.
Well, awesome stuff, Ryan. Congrats on your first win of the season, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again very shortly.
Yeah, sure hope so. Thank you.
All right, Mike, I believe you've got second place, Chris Samard.
Hey, Chris, Mike up in the booth, man. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Well, not too bad. Well, that was a heck of a final few laps once you guys got what you got to the front. You and Ryan put on a show side by side, not really touching each other for multiple laps. How was it racing out there here at Martinsville on that slick surface?
It was fun at the start. It wasn't that loose, but I don't know, 20 or so laps in, it got really loose after that, and you had to really save your tires. And I was probably, I don't know, halfway down on the throttle, or maybe a little more down the front stretch. I couldn't get it to full throttle. It was gonna loop it pretty much, and but it was a fun night racing with Ryan there. I think we touched him one time, but it was fun racing with him for many laps, and it was I think if we had it going green a little more, we would have been side by side more. But I guess someone stopped on the track and then caused a caution and got back going again. So I don't know what happened there, but it definitely was fun tonight. So
Yeah, it definitely was a little bit of a change of pace going to the short track. You guys were able to kind of keep the cautions under control and have lots of green flag runs for the most part. Haven't seen you too much here in WSRL lately, but when you show up, it's always a treat. Congrats on your P2 finish. Anybody you want to thank before we get you out of here tonight?
yeah, I'd just like to thank all my teammates at Simrig Accessories Creation Studios, FBR Simrig Accessories Creation Studios. It's been a while, so I probably screw that up again, and they're gonna laugh at me and make fun of me, but that's okay. My wife and son, and just happy for Ryan there winning, and he ran me clean, ran me tough, but ran me clean, and I'd like to think I did the same. So
Definitely, Mount. Well, congrats again, and hope to see you throughout the season.
all right, have a good night, fellas.
All right, and then we've got third place finisher Jacob Jensen with us. Jacob, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Fantastic, man. I tell you what, you had yourself a phenomenal day. Led a lot of laps early, but that long green flag run, it kind of seemed like the rear end got away from you. What was it that you experienced in that truck throughout the course of that long run, and how were you able to overcome that moving forward?
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy night. The tires just melted away basically for me. After the spin there, I was at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for my rear tire temperatures, which is definitely a lot. And then just making the way back through, trying to be somewhat patient, but still get through, and getting those tires at the end there were a big help.
Yeah, it seemed like on that second to last pit stop, you came in for nothing but repairs to save that last set. How much of an advantage do you think that gave you working your way back up through the field?
It was definitely an advantage on the people who'd never pitted. So when we were racing at the end there with Brian and Bob, it was definitely an advantage with them. The other people, it was somewhat of an advantage, but it didn't help a lot. It was just trying to stay out of the slow lane and get through them.
Well, Jacob, you come away with the P3. You were right behind Ryan and Chris. Do you think there was anything more you could have done on those last 3 laps?
Maybe. I mean, they were really fast all night, and I don't know if there was anything I could have done without roughing them up a bit, and I'm not that kind of guy. So it is what it is, and it was a good race. Hopefully in 2 weeks when we get back, it'll be fun at Bristol.
Yeah, buddy. Right back to the short tracks. Before we let you go, who do you want to thank for such a strong run, keeping that 64 pretty much at the top of the standings since we started talking to you back last summer.
Yeah, well, you always got to thank the good Lord. My dad had a okay night, so always nice racing with him. Got to thank the friends, the family. Got to thank all my sponsors, TWRS. They're an awesome setup shop. WLT2 Motorsports. Got to thank you guys for putting the broadcast together, and got to thank Bob for putting the league together.
Well, awesome stuff, man. Congrats once again on another podium finish on the season. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again at Bristol.
Thank you very much. Have a nice one.
All right. We'll take a look at, just looking at that last lap there. Saw the 54 got sideways coming up off of turn 4, so wanted to see what was going on with that. He's racing around Kenyon. But overall, Mike, a phenomenal night here at Martinsville. There was a lot of good opportunity for good, hard racing. You see a little bit of a bump and run there at a Kenyon, and, well, yeah, it looks like Ricky just, I think he stood on it.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah. It's Martinsville. Short track tempers. It's the end of the race. Get knocked out of the way. You might just take one last shot. Finishing up here in Martinsville, Ryan Steele won the race, led 45 laps. Chris Simard comes home in second. Jacob Jensen in third. Brian Barnes was your hard charger of the race, up 13 positions. Jacob Jensen led 91 laps, the most of anyone tonight. 3 green flag lead changes tonight. A couple of them happened under caution. We had 5 different leaders. Fastest lap of the day, Ricky Barbary with a 24:07. He also had the fastest lap in qualifying, starting on the pole. We had 12 cautions tonight for 48 total laps. And Mike, that's a lot better than the last time we did this.
Yeah, definitely.
So Steele, Simard, Jensen, then Chad Stearns, Brian Barnes, Wayne Hutchison, Bob Beltrami, John Kenyon, Ricky Barbary, and James Dewar round out the top 10. The rest of the results will continue scrolling underneath. You guys can find where your favorite driver finished if he was outside of that top 10, which Martinsville is a tough track. Obviously, only 10 guys can be in the top 10, but you're going to see some guys that were supposed to be up there not at a track like this.
Yeah, definitely. And they go from Martinsville, they take a week off, and then we're right back short track racing at Bristol for the night race.
Buddy, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Going to see some 3-wide action. We're going to see more of the same of the tires wearing out and creating a discrepancy with who's saving their stuff, who's not, who's able to, run later on into the run. We're in for a wild show. I'm almost sad that we got to wait an extra week for it.
Yeah.
But that'll about do it for us here on Sim Racing Media. We cannot thank you guys enough for tuning in here, spending a Tuesday night with us and the Western States Racing League. These guys put together an incredible race as always. We are happy to have been able to bring it to you. Well, for Mike DeMoney, I am Liam Mervig, and as always, we'd like to close it out by saying, do it for Dale and be like Biff. And of course, as you guys walk through the streets of life, please don't play in traffic. Have a good night, folks.